Okay, so let's kick things off with a feeling I bet pretty much everyone listening has had at some point. That little voice the one in your head questioning as something you think you know for sure. Maybe you remember saying something specific, but someone else just completely denies it. Makes you wonder, right? Like, did I imagine that? Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, absolutely. It's that really unsettling feeling when your own sense of what's real starts to get, well, shaky.
Mm.
And that's exactly the territory we're diving into today, gaslighting.
Gaslighting, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like more than just having a different memory or disagreeing, isn't it? This deep dive, we really want to unpack it, how this kind of manipulation actually works, the impact it has, and importantly, how you can spot it and what you can do about it. We've looked at some really insightful sources, psychological explanations, strategies. So let's get right into it. What is gaslighting, really, at its core?
Well, fundamentally, it's a form of psychological manipulation. It's a deliberate attempt by someone to make you doubt your own mind, your perceptions, your memories, even your sanity. It's not just a one-off thing. It's more of a pattern. Twisting facts, denying reality, invalidating how you feel, all to gain control.
Wow. Yeah. Deliberate. That sounds incredibly undermining. And the name itself, gaslighting, it has a story behind it, right? It didn't just appear out of thin air.
That's right. No, it comes from a play back in 1930 called Gaslight, and there were film versions too. The whole story is about this husband who uh, systematically manipulates his wife. One key thing he does is secretly dim the gas lights in their house, and when she notices, says something.
He tells her she's imagining it.
Exactly. He flat out denies it, insists it's all in her head, over and over. And that constant denial of her reality, that chipping away at her perception, that's the classic example. It's amazing how fiction captured it so well.
Yeah, it really is. It paints such a clear picture of undermining someone's confidence in their own experience. So, what are some of the, common things a gaslighter might actually say? The phrases that should maybe make your ears prick up.
Right. Well, you often hear phrases specifically designed to dismiss you or deny what you know happened. Things like, you're just being too sensitive. That's a classic.
Minimizing.
Or the outright denial. That never happened.
Even if you know it did.
Exactly. Also, you're overreacting or you're imagining things. And one that's really isolating is something like, everyone else agrees with me, or everyone thinks you're crazy.
Oof. Yeah, those definitely make you stop and question yourself immediately. It throws your internal compass off. What's the real goal behind using phrases like that? What are they trying to achieve?
Well, the main aim is to erode your self-confidence,
Mhm.
to make you distrust your own judgment, your own feelings, your own memory. By constantly invalidating you, the gaslighter wants you to become more dependent on their version of reality.
Ah, so they become the authority on what's real.
Precisely. It shifts the power completely. You start doubting yourself so much. You end up relying on them to tell you what's true. It's about control.
Okay, I'm seeing the pattern. So how does this actually unfold? What are the specific tactics they use?
It's usually not one big dramatic thing. It's often subtle, builds up over time. Lying and denial are like the bedrock. They'll deny something happened even if you have proof right there.
Yes, flat out denial.
Yep. And there's discrediting. They might try to make you look unstable to others, maybe spreading rumors or telling people you're, emotional or not remembering things right, trying to isolate you.
Turning others against your perception too. Wow.
Exactly. Then there's deflection. You confront them and they change the subject or somehow make it your fault for bringing it up.
Ah, the classic blame shift.
Right. And minimization, telling you you're making a big deal out of nothing, that your feelings aren't valid. And the key is often the repetition. They use these tactics consistently over and over until it just wears you down. It's like a constant drip, drip, drip on your sense of reality.
Gosh, that sounds exhausting. Just relentless. Are there other common moves?
Oh, yes. Misdirection and deflection are big shifting blame, like we said, making you feel guilty for their actions. Contradiction is another one. They'll say one thing 1 minute and something completely different the next, constantly contradicting what you know or remember.
Keeping you totally off balance.
Totally. And projection, this one's tricky. They accuse you of doing the very things they are doing.
Like, if they're lying, they accuse you of being dishonest.
Exactly that. They might also withhold information, pretend they don't understand you, or just stonewall refuse to discuss your concerns. And then sometimes they mix it all up with sudden affection or charm. People call it love bombing.
Oh, right. To confuse you even more.
Yeah, it keeps you guessing, makes you think, maybe they're not so bad, maybe I am misjudging them. It adds another layer of confusion.
It really sounds like a very calculated strategy to create chaos in someone's mind. So what's the end game? What's the ultimate goal of all this?
the big picture goal. It's really to create this deep sense of confusion, anxiety, and insecurity in the person they're targeting. By making you doubt your own mind, they make you dependent on them, dependent for your reality, for validation. And that dependency gives the gaslighter a huge amount of power and control over how you think, feel, and act.
It's so important to remember this isn't just like a theory. This stuff happens in real life in everyday situations. Can you give us some concrete examples? Where might we see this play out?
Sure. So in a romantic relationship, you might see a partner consistently deny they were flirting, right? Even if you saw it. And then they turn around, call you paranoid or too jealous.
Right, classic deflection and minimization.
Exactly. Or think about work. A boss might change project instructions or move a deadline, then blame you for not keeping up. They might insist they told you the new deadline ages ago, making you doubt your own memory and competence.
Ugh, yeah, that sounds incredibly stressful.
It is. In families, maybe a parent constantly dismisses your childhood memories, saying things like, you always remember things wrong, or that never happened like that.
Undermining your whole history.
Precisely. And it's not just close relationships, it happens in friendships too. Even on a bigger scale, you see societal gaslighting sometimes, like with deliberate misinformation campaigns designed to make people doubt facts.
Those examples really bring it home. It helps to see the pattern in different contexts. So what's the actual toll? What does this do to someone's mental health long term?
Oh, the psychological impact can be really severe, and it can last a long time. We often see a serious erosion of self-esteem. Constant self-doubt becomes like the default setting.
I can imagine.
Victims often develop significant anxiety, depression too. They're struggling to figure out what's real. They can become really emotionally dependent on the abuser because who else are they supposed to trust when they can't trust themselves? Making even simple decisions can become incredibly hard. There's often a loss of identity, like they don't know who they are outside of this confusing dynamic.
Mm.
Isolation is common too because the gaslighter often works to cut them off from support systems.
That sounds so lonely.
It is. And in really severe ongoing cases, the constant stress and invalidation can actually lead to symptoms similar to PTSD. It's this pervasive feeling of being trapped, unable to trust your own thoughts, being told the reality you feel is just wrong.
That paints a really, really troubling picture. So, okay, if someone's listening now and thinking, some of this sounds familiar, what are some key questions they could ask themselves to get a bit more clarity?
Yeah, self-reflection is super important here. Maybe ask yourself things like, do I find myself saying sorry all the time, even if I have no idea what I did wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel like consistently confused or anxious, specifically around this one person? Am I second-guessing myself constantly, my memories, my decisions?
Do I feel like nothing I do is ever right for them?
Exactly. Or do I often question if I'm being too sensitive or even crazy? Do I feel kind of disoriented after talking to them about certain things?
Do I find myself making excuses for their behavior to other people? Oh, they didn't mean it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a big one. Or do I feel increasingly cut off either from other people or just from my own sense of what's real? And maybe the simplest one. After I interact with this person, do I usually feel drained, anxious, maybe depressed?
Those are powerful questions. If the answer is yes to a bunch of those, it's definitely a red flag.
It's a very strong indicator that gaslighting might be happening, yes.
So if someone recognizes these signs, what can they actually do? What are some concrete steps?
Okay, so first things first. Trust. Gut. Seriously.
Hmm.
If something feels off, it probably is. Your feelings are valid. End of story, no matter what they say.
Validate yourself first. I like that.
Yes. And then, practically speaking, documentation can be huge. Keep a journal. Write down what happened, when what was said. Having a record helps you push back against the denial later. No, actually, on Tuesday you said this.
Like an anchor to reality.
Exactly. Screenshots, emails, even voice memos if it's legal, where you're at anything that helps you track reality. Then, boundaries. Set firm boundaries. You have the right not to engage in conversations that are manipulative.
What would that sound like?
You could say something like, I'm not going to discuss this anymore if you keep denying my experience. Or, we can talk when you're ready to acknowledge my feelings.
Clear and direct.
Yeah. And talk to someone you trust, a friend, a family member, anyone outside the situation who can offer perspective. External validation is so important.
Getting that reality check from someone else.
And professional help therapy is often really crucial. A therapist can help you unpack it, rebuild your self-trust, and develop coping strategies. Also, just basic self-care. Do things that make you feel good, grounded, and...
Right, taking care of yourself through it all.
And finally, depending on the situation, you might need to consider limiting contact, or, if it's safe and possible, even leaving the relationship entirely if it's consistently toxic.
Those are really practical, empowering steps. It feels important to emphasize that people experiencing this aren't alone and there are ways forward.
Absolutely. It's so vital to see gaslighting for what it is. A serious form of emotional abuse. It's not just drama. It has real lasting effects on mental health. Raising awareness helps people recognize it, maybe in their own lives, or maybe they can support someone else going through it.
Hmm.
It often pops up where there's a power imbalance, and you frequently see it alongside things like narcissism or other controlling behaviors.
Mm.
And remember, there are resources. Therapy, as we said, support groups, various helplines for emotional abuse or domestic violence. They can offer real support.
Yeah. So I guess the main takeaway is gaslighting is real, it's manipulative, it's designed to make you doubt yourself. But your reality, your feelings, they are valid. Trust yourself and don't hesitate to seek support. You can reclaim your sense of truth.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And, that leads to maybe a final thought to leave people with. If we understand how gaslighting works on this personal level, how it twists perception and erodes trust in one person, what does that suggest about how manipulation might work on a much broader scale? In society, in media, in politics, how can understanding this dynamic help us become more critical thinkers, more aware of attempts to distort reality in the wider world? Something to chew on.